Hi, welcome back to Tao Twang. I'm Dave. Ask you for a little favor this week. Some research and development help here. What I'm about to present to you is some version of it. It's this kind of part of one of the main concepts that's going to be used in this series that I'm working on, that's going to be sort of an introduction to improvisation and searching for your own sound and so forth, using a basic key study or a major scale as the source material for the melody improvisation. So many of the concepts that we're going to look at today are things that exist in videos on Tao of Twang, in different forms and at different times throughout, since I've been doing it. But what I'm trying to do here is distill some of those concepts into something that's really compact, that's really focused, something that if we had some everybody at guitar camp, for 3 days or something, like what would we really want to make sure that we included in that kind of foundational set of skills and concepts and practice methods. Okay, so it would really help me, and perhaps help you by way of the quality of the material on Tao of Twang. If I heard what your experience of this was, and how it made sense to you, and maybe how it could be better, and even thinking of someone that's maybe you're a little bit more advanced than someone that's just starting out with improvisation, and kind of putting yourself in their shoes and saying oh, okay, yeah, this would really help somebody that was at certain stages and so forth. So that would be cool if you could, if you think of something and you have a few minutes, get down there in the comments this time and just give me some feedback about that. It really helps. It's really needed, right? Me just presenting what makes sense to me is helpful, hopefully, to a certain degree, but I need that feedback from everybody to really, keep building the quality of the presentation and the method, right? And, our basic concept here is that this is about sounding like you, right? This isn't about sounding like me or whoever else we're admiring, that we listen to and so forth. And of course, we take in all of this sound that's around us from other players and lessons and YouTube and things. But for the Tao of Twang, the whole philosophy is that the skills lead to a sound that is you, right? And so let me know, also what your feelings are about that. If you think that the stuff that I'm presenting here supports that for you. Now let me put this diagram up here, and we're going to jump right in. I didn't do an intro today because this is more of kind of a using this little matrix right here. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken a backing track that already existed. I think it's been used in a Patreon video early on, within the first dozen or so videos. But it's it uses the 1, 4, and 5 chords in C, so it lends itself very well to this sort of thing. So let's listen to that real quick. Drop my pick for the 10th time today. And while I was getting my pick, I missed the downbeat, but get the kind of the rhythm vibe or whatever. And here it is. It starts on C, the 1 chord in C. The 4 in C, back to the 1, 5. turn that off. And now back over to our diagram here. It sounds like the dog they're building a house 2 doors down from us. And so there's a lot of workers driving in and out, and that keeps the burglar busy all day monitoring the front window. So there's not a whole lot we can do about that. You can't edit it out. It's just, if that's the mood she's in, we just have to put up with it. So this little matrix right here is, right, the letter names there of the notes in yellow are the triads for the 3 chords. The C is the 1. They're not in order of 1, 4, 5. It's 1, 5, 4, because the backing track goes like that, the first 3 chords. And it doesn't play the C and the G that are in the backing track progression at the end of it, because it'd just be redundant, right? The 3 chords that are used are included in that little matrix. And going up in columns from each root there is the triad for each one, okay? Which of course would be derived by taking every other note out of the major scale. We're in C major. We could talk a little bit about why it's C major and some other kind of nice, kind of little serendipitous connections about this grid and that, and how to kind of extrapolate it from different sides and so forth. But for today, we're in C major. There's no sharps or flats in there, right? So C is the 1, and then if we go up to the major third, right, from that root C, we'll get an E, and then if we go up 5 degrees, we'll get a G. That's our triad. Okay, and likewise for the other chords, right? That's nothing new to most of you. So what is this really about? Like, okay, we get that, what's the why here, okay? And how can we use this right away? Not by, a whole lot of, chalkboard talk or whatever. But in any key, get out a piece of paper and a pen and write down that little matrix, right? And sometimes it'll be different chords in there, what if it was a 2-5-1 in C? It'd be a D minor, then a G, and then a C or something, right? But the same thing could be done, right? You could use this kind of arranging and this kind of graphic, geometrical way of looking at it, right? Now, how do we use this? Well, we're going to jump right in on this. Let's say we just took the roots, which would be the bottom row right there. Get our backing track on. I want to keep this over here so I can, in a sense, I don't need it, but it changes it when you're looking at it, right? This just kind of keeps you on track. Right? There's that F, and then it's going to come back to the C, then G. So I'm going to look for a C. Right? Looking for an F. Back up to C. To the 5. Okay, now a little bit of movement. Okay, now I didn't want to jump the gun there too much, but it's hard because once you get moving around, your ear is pulled to these other notes that are also sound good, right? They're in the scale, but they are also members of these triads, right? So we get back over here looking at this, and like, what if I just go for the, okay, so that row, I started off just playing those three notes. Then I did a little bit of up and down and around each one, stepping out, back, but I stayed on that framework, right? So now what if I do something like that with thirds, E, B, and A in this course, in this case, right? And, don't worry about memorizing it. Just keep your little chart right there. And now this does require that you start learning the names of the notes you're on, not just shapes, right? But you can also do it by shapes if you're very familiar with Cage and you're going about things in general in that manner. You may see them more as like the third, the fifth, the root, not necessarily the names of the notes. That's okay too. Both things are getting you, will get you there. So I'm going to start on the third of a C triad. Went down to the third of the G. A for the F. Okay, let's leave it on. What if I do a little bit of root and third, mingling those two? Okay, so roots and thirds, the two bottom rows on there, right? Take your time, and if you get lost or something, don't worry about, you just stop and kind of reset, wait, get back into the backing track, maybe I'll start on the third of the C. Third of the G. Okay. Now, right away, at any level, okay, this isn't just, kind of you're, necessarily like you're just an intro into this, right? Because this way of, thinking about it and doing it, it combines this sort of like, thing of where your hand wants to go in your ear with this real structured exercise of doing it, right? It's not just about the part that's on the paper, that's on the screen, right? Let yourself go a little bit at a time, and you'll see. Sometimes I don't land on any chord, a chord tone right when it changes the chord. I'm still in the progress of walking some path to get to the other chord. Great, right? Everything doesn't have to fall mechanically perfect on the beat and all of that. But at first, if you want that, the security, the support and the confidence of that feeling that, yes, I know where I am right now, then back it up and really just stick to like, one line. Do the roots, do the thirds, do the fifths, and stay in a routine like that. This is the feedback part that I need from y'all. Like, what works for you, right? And then don't worry. We're in this, process of this series, we will elaborate on it more, and we'll put in more embellishments, and we'll start bending and different kinds of feelings of timing and so forth. But right now, just kind of keep it in the middle of the road, right? And again, depending on your level. But right now, it's like you're trying out a product for me, sort of, if you're willing to, spend your time on that, and just seeing like, yeah, I can see how this would work, or here's how you could do it a little differently that might help folks too. So now that's kind of the long and the short of it. Because you could see then that you could do different paths. I could go, root, then the third of the next chord, then the root of the next one, then the fifth of the next one, and so on and so forth. And at some point, you're just utilizing that scale, those 7 notes, right? That grouping of notes, but in a way that really increases your chances of landing on sweet spots and things that really allow the progression to be heard. One of the cool tests for this, if you just want to kind of take it to the next level for yourself, is like record yourself playing with the backing track or something and then take the backing track away. Or just play without it even. And see if your melody choices, decisions that you're making, imply what the progression is. Like, oh, you know what? Even though nobody's playing any chords behind this, I can hear that that's how the song goes, that it's following it, right? That lets you know that you're using chord tones in a meaningful way that's really connected to the progression, even when the chords aren't there. I did a lot of talking in this video, but hopefully the concepts and using that little chart right there are pretty straightforward. I'll put a copy of the backing track below, and just do your own thing with it too, and then let me know, like, hey, here's if I were teaching this to somebody, I might also add this to what you said or something like that. I would appreciate it, and I will it'll find its way into this method somehow, right? It is about you. Okay? Appreciate you. Talk to you next time.